Today we're going to talk about our lengthy visa process. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and this is Tasha. Today we're going to talk about our lengthy visa process that we started more or less 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah,
we're gonna tell you about the different steps we took and if we actually got our visa, because some of you already know that we are in the visa process and you have asked us what is exactly going on there, so we want to answer those questions in this video. This video will be the beginning of a series of videos which I think will be extremely interesting, where we talk about our decision making with the visa and if we stay in Colombia or not. This series should help you understand our decisions, what we take with the different situations we are confronted with, and it maybe will also affect your plans if you're thinking about living in Colombia or not.
Especially long term.
Exactly, yeah. So we have been expats now in Colombia, so we are still in Colombia at the moment for more or less 4 years now, pretty much. So the first 6 months we stayed as normal tourists, and in this time we applied for the visa and we got our 3 years business investor visa. That's kind of the foundation of this video. Is there something more you want to add, or should I start with the first steps?
Well, I think we should just start. The 6 months, most of you guys have the 6 months anyway. 3 months, you get a stamp when you enter the country for 3 months, and you can stay here and you can extend it for another 3 months. So there's nothing else. It's really straightforward. So I think we don't have to elaborate on that.
Okay.
So I think we should start with the whole visa thing. We had to go through.
All right. Okay. So around 4 years ago, we moved from Switzerland to Latin America. We figured out which was the best country for us. After we spent time in Colombia just for a couple of weeks, we knew that Colombia would be it. Yeah. Then we already knew a little bit about the visa requirements here. One of the visa we were focused on was the business investors visa. And at the time, around 4 years ago, it was easier to get as it is right now. The promise was more or less that if you invest around $25,000 in a Colombian company, you are able to get the visa. Yeah. What the company exactly does, if it's an investment company, if it's an active, let's say a normal company, it didn't matter at the time. The promise was you just have to invest it and that's it. So we did that. The process was quite easy. It was around 2 weeks that we got that. Tasha got the beneficiary visa. So if you have a visa and you have a spouse, then the spouse could be kind of attached to that visa, which is the beneficiary visa. That's how we got the visa for her.
We actually got married here, by the way, to do that in order to... Otherwise, I would have to do the same thing, invest another 25,000 in a company and all that. That doesn't make sense anyway, so that's how we did it. So we got married here.
And the process was quite easy going as well.
Yeah, very straightforward and fast.
So that's what we did. Then we lived here in Colombia for around 2 years. At that time, we did a lot of research for a company that we had still at the time is How to Expat. And in year 2, we wanted to really incorporate have our first employees or a more kind of a business relationship, let's say. So that's what we did then. Then COVID hit and other circumstances hit as well, where we couldn't continue with How to Expat and the planned incorporation of all of our business aspects into the company. Yeah. So this was around 1 year to go till the renewal. So then COVID hit. We didn't really do anything through a Colombian company at the time, because of obvious reasons. We weren't able to serve anybody in...
We weren't even able to leave the house. So.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So, and then we took the decision that I'm gonna learn programming and she gonna focus on her online stuff, content management, web marketing, graphic design, all of those things. Exactly. And then we founded our digital agency. I got a full-time client pretty fast after that. Tasha did do some things as well there, and we got the things rolling there. Then the thing was that we wanted to incorporate that now into the Colombian company. We did that around 6 months before we actually had to apply for the visa. because we knew that the visa requirements changed a little bit. It's not only you have to invest in Colombia, it's also that you have to prove movement of invoices and all of those things. And because we weren't incorporated and not invested in anything yet, we did that with the agency. So we did the whole thing there. We had many invoices through there, and that's what we did around 6 months beforehand. So
we got an accountant and all of that, because we really needed an accountant, so we had to look out for one, and it was really hard to find an accountant, because first of all, find an accountant that speaks English, and that is great. We found one, but because she speaks English and because she's great, she's fully booked all the time, so it was so hard to get in touch with her. So we had to look for other opportunities or other options, and we did found another option, which is all in Spanish. They're Colombians, they're doing a great job, but first of all, again, it's all in Spanish. Since we are fluent in Spanish, it wasn't an issue. However, the price is not really inexpensive to, how much did we pay per month?
Yeah, it's a similar amount as you would spend in Switzerland, actually. Like for the little amount we had, so we don't have a complicated accounting structure. We don't have any assets or anything like that. It's pretty simple. So it's like the hourly rate is what you would get in Switzerland, which is crazy. But yeah, we couldn't find somebody cheaper. And if you find cheaper options, then the quality goes down. You're gonna get fines, so you pay at the end of the day the same thing. Then the other thing is also having a company here in Colombia, especially during the time we have been here. They included a new law, so you could imagine. It's still crazy in my mind that every invoice you send as a company here has to go through the local tax authorities, which is just messed up. And yeah, doing business here in Colombia is not really a fun thing to do. But anyway, we took it upon us because we really wanted to live here, and that's what we did. So we spent a ton of money, we invested a ton of money and time. Yeah, so a lot of our clients were from abroad. To import actually the money from abroad to Colombia is a nightmare. I had to call different lines anytime we had money coming in. It's just a mess. So yeah, but anyway, we did that. And then around 2 months before, remember when we did it the first time, we had just around 2 weeks until when we started the whole process till I got my visa. Now we started around 2 or even 3 months beforehand with the paperwork. So we did that. So how was the process exactly? The first paperwork, they replied inside of a month, and they rejected because of...
Well, at least we heard... So the thing is that when we started the whole process, we heard at least once a week, and we had an update. We got an update from our lawyers saying, okay, I submitted the request or the application. As I did that, I heard back from them. They had more questions. They asked a lot of questions, to be honest. And so we did that, and after a month, I think, we got rejected for reasons that are ridiculous, for reasons that they rejected the visa because they said we didn't get this and that document, which was not required and never requested before.
Exactly, which was not required, so you don't have to have it for the business investors visa. And we don't, and they didn't request it. So it was just BS.
It makes no sense at all. So again, we still wanted to stay here. We did it again, so we reapplied. And this is when, if you've seen our, I don't know, like a month ago, we uploaded a video about how we live in Colombia, because at that moment, everything took way too long. Our visas got expired because, again, when we started, when we came 2 years ago, it took 2 weeks. Now it just took a month to get a reply. So we had to leave Colombia because everything was taking way too long. Our visas had expired, and every day you overstay your visa, that's important for you to know, you have to pay. So when you're actually leaving the country, you have to pay a fine for the time that you overstayed your visa because you don't have a visa.
A thing that we did there is, so I overstayed my visa, or we overstayed because it's connected. We overstayed the visa.
Yeah, we did.
So what we needed to do is called a salvoconducto, which is kind of a paper that shows yes, they overstayed, but it's okay. And that's valid for a month. We did that. Getting that was horrible. So I had to stay in the office of where they do that. It's here in Medellin. It's in Belén. It's a neighborhood. Belén is a neighborhood
the immigration
of Medellin.
office.
And I did that. I had to stay there around almost 4 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And we don't live close to that office. So we had to go there quite a while and stay 4 hours there and go back for quite a while.
I had to wait outside, and the thing is that, and that's the important thing, just he got the salvoconducto, so he could live or stay here for another month. I couldn't because I didn't get it.
Even though her visa is connected to mine.
Even though our visas are connected, not only that, our lawyer even told us, you are not going out there without both having the salvoconducto. Well, it happened differently first.
So then that's why we left Colombia initially to wait out the visa situation outside of the country. So we're not staying illegally because my salvoconducto, the paperwork that shows, okay, you overstayed, but it's okay, was just valid for another month.
It was about to expire.
Exactly. So she stayed illegally in Colombia, but we unfortunately didn't have to pay a fine, even though she overstayed. So that's a thing, and we went inside of the month extension for me. So that's what we did. Then we got notice that as we were abroad, that my visa was accepted now the second time, but it was only accepted for a year. So usually in the past it has been for 3 years, this business investor's visa, where you actually do business here, you pay taxes here, you do all that BS. You do that and they just extend it for another year. So that was on one side nice because we can stay here now in Colombia. But
still a bummer.
the next thing, it was just for 1 year, so it's a bummer. So it's pretty much right away when you got your visa, you have to again start your visa process all over for the next year. And who knows if you get it next year, who knows if you get it just for 1 year. The issue with the visa process for this business investor's visa at the moment in Colombia is that you don't really know what you have to bring on the table or to the table. You know that the requirement is actually, yes, in the law it's written, I've read the law, it's you have to invest around more or less $25,000 in a company, but that's what's written in the law. What it is actually, what the specifications is that the agents, the government agents actually will want from you is different from case to case. I know it could have been way worse than us, but I know from people that it has been way easier. So that said that. I just want to quickly talk about if this should be a bummer for you in regards to the visa. But first, I just want to quickly plug that we have a video course about Medellin where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly that you need to know if you want to live in Medellin. We have a special promo at the moment, which we just gonna have, I think, for another month or something like that. The link to that is in the description down below. You support the channel if you do that, and I think it's invaluable information, things that we never talked about on our YouTube channel because we can't talk about certain things there. Yes. You want to add something there?
No, that's pretty much it. So if you want to know more about investing in real estate or food or whatever it is, I think you will really be happy with the e-guide.
So what does this mean for you? If you are thinking about getting a Colombian visa, it really depends which visa it is. If it's a business investor visa, I would not recommend it. Really, it's
getting harder.
It's getting harder. You don't know exactly what the issues are or what you have to bring, what the specifications are. I wouldn't do it. If you find any other way, try to get another visa. And if it's the only chance, think about doing like just 6 months tourism here, like the tourist visa here, and spend 6 months somewhere else. It's really way better. We knew other people, other YouTubers as well that had the same situation. Other people, because we are in this expat space, we know other people that it worked out, but also with a lot of paperwork, and others it didn't work out. So I wouldn't recommend it. But most of you most probably are going to look into the pension visa, marriage visa, and work visa.
Yep.
And especially like these 3 visas are still more or less easygoing. Not as easygoing as they were around a couple of years ago, but they're still okay to get.
Yeah.
So if you pursue one of those visas, we would still recommend to live in Colombia. What we now do, if we stay in Colombia or not, you're gonna find out in the next video. As I said, this is a series. We're gonna bring you through our decision process, what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Again, we're at this current moment, we are in Colombia, but if you stay here, in the next video. All right, this was it for a video. You wanna add something?
Stay tuned for the next video. It's a lot of information that we're gonna provide in this series, and I'm sure you can benefit from all the information that we're gonna provide. So stay tuned for the following videos that we're gonna post. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.